Recently, I've been using Denote and Rome together as my note-taking system for university. This is a unique workflow that I've never seen anybody implement before, as far as I can tell. So I would like to share it with you today. I've been using Denote and Rome for more or less like 2 years, maybe 3 years. Sophomore year in high school was when I started using Rome, and then I switched to Denote in junior year. And I mainly used Denote by itself for about 2 years after that. But recently, about 3 months ago, I switched to using Denote and Rome. So I would just like to take you through what made me make that decision and how I am using those things together. So the first reason I'm using Denote and Rome together is that Denote is really good at making files, but it's not the best at making links in the way that I like doing them. It has its own link type, which is fine, but when you export those to PDF, they don't really work so well. So I like the format of the org UUID in the property drawer. So those are the kinds of links that Rome uses, and I find those to be more suitable for making quick links together. And also, the thing that comes with that is you don't have to depend on Denote to read your notes later on, because I'm pretty sure plain Emacs can see those notes on their own. So here's an example of what my notes look like in Rome. This is the graph view that comes with Rome UI. So we're going to take a look at this little branch of notes from my archaeology class. Apologies, I am recording this at university and I think the building around me might be closing, but it's honestly kind of hard to tell because sometimes the lights just turn off because there's no one there. Anyways, so this we'll take a look at first actually my archaeology note. So Rome UI has this convenient button to open the node in Emacs, and it works sometimes. There it goes. So this is my kind of map of content node is what they call it in Obsidian, I think, or it's more of an index for me of all the nodes related to archaeology. And if we take a look at the Denote diard, we can look at all the nodes with the anth tag, which stands for anthropology, and you can see that these are all of my .org files for this class that I'm taking this semester. So these are all of the kind of top level topics that are quite general. You'll see in this note here, all of these nodes linked here are shown in the graph view, but then there's nodes that spawn off of those. And so, like, let's see, in excavation, there's different kinds of excavations, like subsurface investigation, but then there's also kind of this law of superposition, which is a different idea from excavation itself, but is still related. And this goes back to relative dating, which is related to the law of superposition, which is related to excavation, which is a generic topic in archaeology. So that's why that's kind of explains my linking philosophy when it comes to those things. So we'll take a look at this case studies node that we were talking about earlier. So this is one of those kind of subtopics that branch into a bunch of different specific studies. So this is the one that we did first in class. And so I will generally just take notes on the class, and if there's a separate topic under this, I will branch it into maybe a subnode by like adding an ID drawer underneath, and you'll see in there's a new node that appeared under it, and I didn't have to make a new file. So this heading becomes basically like a new file almost, but without making a file. So that's kind of what I like about org roam, is that if you make a link, it can be in the same file but then still show up visually different from what's already there. So Denote does allow you to make notes inside notes using links, but it doesn't really distinguish them where you can find the link again. You'll just have to peek in the same file and then find it. But you can also use the Denote list links feature, but I don't think it's as powerful as kind of the visual linking web that apps like Obsidian and packages like org roam UI provide. So I'll tell you more about the specific purposes of these tools. So Denote I use to create the note files in org mode. So you can see from my my Denote directory in my notes folder that all of these notes file the Denote naming scheme. So they have the date and the time. Like I have like org roam has previously done in the past, where you can kind of customize it, but Denotes is, I think, a little bit more elegant, and you don't have to customize it as much. Like for example, this diode buffer is colored based off of the components of the Denote file naming scheme, which is a feature of Denote. I don't know if there's a thing of that for org roam, but I like this a lot because it has the tags in it, so I can filter them with Denote diode, just like I've shown you before, where I have a consistent tag for a certain topic that I add every time because I create the note. And if I show you the filter for topic, these are all of the kind of main nodes that link to the root note. So archaeology, you can see, has this topic tag, and it links to the root node, which is at the center of everything. Let's see. Yeah, so it has a massive index of all of the like extremely high level topics. Like they don't go into specifics at all. That's where everything branches out from. So you can see in archaeology, it goes all the way over here, which is what all the archaeology notes are linked to. Yeah, and this is really nothing new compared to other org roam videos I've seen before, or even Obsidian videos that I've watched when I was playing with Obsidian for like a week, until I realized I already use Emacs, why don't I just try this org roam thing? So yeah, I like this system quite a bit. And like I explained earlier, Denote does not do links, like at all. I don't use any of the Denote links. All of those are managed by org roam. When I switched back to using org roam with Denote, I moved all of the links really quickly to just use org roam. That wasn't very long compared to when I switched from org roam to Denote, because I had not made many links, because I had found the Denote linking to be not in the way that I liked it. But that's not to say that it's not good or anything, but it's just not for me, at least I think for now, because it always changes. I remember during my Emacs conference talk, I had said I don't really like org roam because it has this dependency on a database, or it's just kind of too heavy for me, or I don't really need all of its features, I'm just going to stick with Denote. But here I am again using it about a year or two later after casting it out, even though it's a great tool. I realized that I hadn't needed it at the time, but now that I have more topics that I want to link together based off of ideas instead of just hierarchically, I've sort of rediscovered that Zettelkasten idea of discovering topics through the web instead of deciding on them arbitrarily. So you'll never know the kinds of connections you might make. Like, I hope one day something in archaeology connects to something in philosophy over here, or someday it might connect to some topic I did in an engineering course, or maybe I'll make a YouTube video about one of these topics one day that I find very interesting. Like, you never really know when the links will show up together, but that's the great thing about the note linking systems like Obsidian and Emacs and others that I know are true, like VimWiki or others. Anyways, because I use Denote, I do get a lot of the cool features like the org extensions, like I showed you, also the diary, the journal, which is very useful for making new files that are just for today. And then I also use the signatures sometimes. I wrote a blog post about it for sequential notes. But yeah, Denote has a lot of these note creation features that are very useful, and basically its sole purpose is for organization. And as I mentioned, it doesn't do links. So org-roam is for links, Denote is for organization. And you might be wondering how exactly just the technical part of this workflow, like you may understand the sort of philosophy behind this, but the technical side, last night I kind of finally had enough of it. I was creating notes with just the denote command for the longest time, and then reopening up the topic page and then inserting the link that's automatically created by my function into the note. But then last night I figured out a new Emacs solution, a new Emacs Lisp solution for this. And so here I'll show it to you. So in my Emacs directory, we can go to my custom Lisp folder, and we can open up my writing folder, or my writing file. And so I started originally with just this function, with just this one right here. And so basically it would just insert this kind of top level ID at any file that I made with Denote. And so that was very useful until I was like, well, I want to try this Denote journal thing, because I tired of getting pieces of paper to write down the tasks I have to do and then maybe losing them or not bringing them with me when I go throughout the day and I forget something. So instead I would just do Denote journal, like new or existing entry, because I want to keep a single file for the day, just in general. And that system worked pretty well until I realized I don't want them to be part of the node system. Like, I don't really care about having them show up here because they're not topical at all. They don't require the linking. So then after that, I made this function, which basically checks if it's in my Denote journal directory, and if it's not, then it inserts the ID at the top, because I don't want my journal entries to have IDs on them, because they don't need to go in the linking system. But then after that, like last night, I realized I don't want to do this workflow where I open a new note by creating it and then going back to the topic and then linking it, because it's kind of interrupting. And when the professors are lecturing fast and switching to a new topic in the conversation, I want to be able to create a new node and then just go to it immediately, or just insert it if it already exists. So I wrote this insert node function that will basically, it will check if you have a file. Let's see. Yeah, this is the main part of it. So it'll check a node, like it'll create this kind of node object, and then it'll get the title from it. So if the node exists, then it'll go through and grab its ID. And if there is an ID, then it'll insert the link into the buffer. Otherwise, it'll go to this next function, which will basically prompt you for some keywords and then create the file with the title from the previous prompt that was given by org Rome. So then it takes the UUID and then inserts it into your file as a link. So then I realized, oh, sometimes I want to open a note, but then it doesn't exist. So if it doesn't exist, then I'm going to create it. So then I made this function earlier today that was, okay, if there's a node, then select it and then get the title from it. If the node has an ID, then just open the node. If the node is not there, then you prompt for some keywords and then make a note. So that's very quick and useful when moving around. And if I just want to make a plain spin-off note by itself, I can still use the original denote command. And the great thing about these is that I could add a signature on it if I wanted to, just by adding like another little part in this this let bind function, where I can just go signature and then denote signature prompt, and then it'll prompt me for a signature. Or I'm sure there's another function that will just make one for me, but I want to be kind of intentional when I make those sequential notes, just because of my workflow with that, which you can read more about on my website. So yeah, I suppose that's it. I really hope the system kind of works out, because it's kind of convenient. And the main thing that I like about the denote is that you see all of these. I was creating a super note for my archaeology class. So basically what I did was I got all of the files with the tag for anthropology, and then I put them in a denote org dynamic block. So here I can show you what that looks like. So we can do denote org dblock and then insert files as headings, and then we will insert let's do research. That's slightly more interesting. And then we'll sort them by identifier, which will essentially sort them by date. And so you can see all of the files that have the research tag on them will show up as a heading in this one big buffer. And so that's essentially what I did for the super note. I took all of my notes for archaeology and each one of them became a heading. And org-Rome doesn't have this, but Denote does. So the powerful part about using them together is that I can get the best of both features. The best of org-Rome being that it's the linking system and the graph view that you can have. And Denote is the feature of the organizing the files with a predictable naming scheme with convenience functions for creating and managing the files themselves. And so with that, I think that is the conclusion of my kind of note philosophy for now. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.